Oi, oi. Ho, 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 ho. Please, please, please. Go.
Were not called due to time constraints. The next item of business is First Minister's questions for backbench members. Question 1, Alex Kerr.
Thank you, Presiding Officer. And thanks to the First Minister's decision to call a bank holiday for Scotland's first World Cup game in almost 28 years, my constituents were able to watch one of our own, Lewis Ferguson, raised in the village of Quarter.
Okay. Please, 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 please. Please. Ah. God damn it, fucking frame drops. Okay. Give people a few minutes. Third time's a charm, hopefully. I can't hear myself, which is a good thing. I can still hear the video. What I need now are people. Chatters, can you hear me? Please come back. Yes! You be that. Hello, Davinia. Ha! Fucking bring it. I knew I'd fucking figure it out. Thank you, Alex, for saying to restart. I think I've got the settings correct. I believe. There's nice one, Davinia. Cool, cool, cool. Right. Go, Alex Kerr.
And trained by Hamilton Accies, helped deliver our first World Cup win in 36 years without worrying about the recovery on Monday. Could the First Minister tell the Parliament what his visit to America achieved for Scotland and how he intends to build on
Uncancel werewolf. I'll probably get a DM from her at some point. Itchy, 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 itchy. Whew. So hopefully I've got everything correct. Take it away.
Our men's team making history to get people across the nation taking up our national support, particularly after we win the World Cup.
Appreciate the ambition.
Alex, I love you desperately, but we're not going to fucking win the World Cup. Next match, Friday, more reasonable kick-off time of 11 p.m, not fuck off o'clock at 2. Ugh. That nearly done me in that match. Not the kick-off time. The match was relatively okay, luckily enough. Quack 3. Restarting actually worked. Thank you, Alex. And yes, if I need any help, I will DM you. Thank you so much. Quack indeed. We just saw him in the last video. Were you, darling? Yeah, it was at 2 o'clock in the morning. That's a fucking stupid kick-off time. I get it. It's in the States. Well, Canada or Mexico as well. Most of them are going to be ridiculous o'clock kick-off. Like our two group games that are left now, 11 p.m. Morocco on Friday, Brazil on Wednesday. So another week here before the one against Brazil. I'm more worried about Morocco than Brazil because Brazil are playing like shite. They're still sixth in the world. I don't know how they played woefully. I will be watching it. He says in... oh my God. You're kidding me? Please, please, please. Have the frame drop stopped? Have they? Yes! Oh. Ah, no TV license. I'm fully paid up until the end of the charter. They keep on emailing me. I'm fully paid up. Get wrecked. I don't know what they're going. It should move on to a subscription-based one or Channel 4 and just put adverts in. We don't have to pay for Channel 4. It's still free. Same with Channel 5 and ITV. We need the TV license. I especially need it because I use the iPlayer for some of my stream content, unfortunately. But I'm fully paid up until the end of the charter. Then they have to renegotiate with the government. By the way, if she survives until then, whenever it's the end of 2027, by the way, so the end of next year, that will be Lisa Nandy in charge of those negotiations. Lisa, just tell them to put advertising like ITV, Channel 4 and Channel 5 do. Stop making us pay the TV license, which is essentially a fucking tax. Because you can end up in jail if you don't fucking pay it. Yeah, because debate night and QT. Oh. Yeah. Well, I'm essentially doing what the BBC do. I'm broadcasting. So I'm just making sure I'm completely fucking covered. Even though I do get copyright cucked by them, if I'm not careful when using QT, that's why I shut it. If I'm doing debate night or question time, I shut off my YouTube. It's easier. It's easier on the Twitch end anyway. As long as it's not too egregious. If things like question time or debate night, it just gets cut out. So anything else other than those two when I'm reacting to them, fine. Yeah. Can't do the football. Bonked from great height. God forbid I should take away money from anyone. Yeah. Oh! I just said because it's broadcasting software, I assumed I'm treated the same as a broadcast. Well, I suppose, yeah. And I would actually need to add. Would Specs know? Specs might know. Specs might know.
First Minister.
President Officer, let me begin by expressing the warmest congratulations of everyone in the Scottish Parliament and indeed the whole of our country at the outstanding performance of Steve Clark, Andy Robertson and the Scotland team and the Tartan Army, who were an absolute credit to our country in the United States at the weekend. It was a particular pleasure for me to see our fans make such a positive impression in Boston, and to capture the imagination and the interest of the city. The Governor of Massachusetts and the Mayor of Boston both indicated to me on Friday evening their joy of what the fans had brought to the city, and of course I, like everyone else, was able to witness on Saturday the success of our team in winning against Haiti, and it augurs well for the remainder of the World Cup campaign. In relation to Mr Kerr's question, obviously the success and the capturing of the imagination of the country around about the sporting events at the weekend helped to reinforce the importance of sport within our society, and the Government has announced a variety of different initiatives to encourage a summer of sport, which includes support for the World Cup Fund to support young boys and girls to follow their sporting dreams, and also £275,000 of funding to support the work delivered across the country by Street Soccer Scotland. And of course, the Summer of Sport contains a...
I'm in a flat, but there's only 6 in it. They do find it difficult for, so over in that direction, there is high rises, which are they 22 or 24? 24? So the high rises over there, which is one of them, depending on how bad the traffic is on the road, is about 6 or 8 minutes walk for me and about 3 for him. Again, road conditions. Right. So what they do is, if there's things registered in the address, they go on that. But because they go on the postcode, they can pinpoint it to a certain degree. Now, if you're a back and front door, you're fucked. But people in blocks of tenements or high-rises, they do struggle because they still need the actual signal going into the property, which is fucking difficult for those, oddly enough, because they all come down through a central system in the block of flats. So it's 22 floors up. It's 22 floors high, with 4 flats on each floor. So that is 88 households, which could be licenseless. Good luck trying to pinpoint it, boys. I'd be worried if they could spy through anything above fucking the 4th floor in the high rises. Christ, I'd even fucking struggle with the 1, 2 and 3rd floors. Yeah. But it's easier to pinpoint in these ones. So tenements are either 6 or 8 high. But 3 or 4 high, with 2 on each floor. So there's 2 on this one, 2 above and another 2 above. But the high rises, there's 4 on each floor. They are not looking through your window, Alex. Unless they're fucking Superman and flying around the block. You used to be 18 high, fucking hell. He hates high rises. He grew up in one. He despises living in them. He doesn't like when we've been decanted twice to fix the mould in this place. The first time that they had to do that, when they just fucking painted over it and shit, we got put in the high rises, which are nearer to us, just there. But we were only 4th floor. The last time, they fixed it correctly this time. Thank you, Housing Association. We were 22 up. Those ones are 24 with 4 flats per floor. They were definitely not seeing the fucking through my window again, unless they were flying or in a paraglider. Yeah, they don't have a legal right. They have to go to a judge and say, we have to enter this premises to see if they've got a TV licence or not. And the judges just look at them. No. jog on.
Number of other welcome initiatives to encourage sporting participation in the country. But I think, Presiding Officer, we should all take stock after the weekend and be very, very grateful for the tremendous inspiration given by the Scotland national team and by the Tartan Army, who are a credit to our country.
Neil Bibby.
Thanks to SNP cuts, health and social care partnerships across Scotland face a £500 million gap in their budgets this year. In Renfrewshire, if nothing changes, the Disability Resource Centre in Paisley will close. The Autism Connection programme will be cut back. Day centres for adults with learning disabilities will be merged. These are vital services, and Friday is decision day. Can I ask the First Minister to tell me what my vulnerable neighbours and their families are meant to do if these cuts go ahead?
First Minister.
So in the Government's budget for this current financial year, we put in place increased financial support for the health service and increased financial support for local government. And from those two increased budgets comes the health and social care budgets to which Mr Bibby refers. Now, I understand and appreciate the significance of all of the projects that Mr Bibby has set out, but we rely on health and social care partnerships to take considered decisions about the delivery of services within localities, and Mr Bibby has put his points on the record about the importance of supporting services for the vulnerable, and that's why the Government increased the budgets for both health and local government to enable that to be the case. But I think what Mr Bibby's question highlights is the need for there to be reform in the way in which we deliver care at local level and support. And that's where Parliament has an opportunity to engage together in addressing some of the important questions that Mr Bibby puts to me. So the Government will be setting out proposals about reform of health and social care within our communities, about making sure the needs of people are met, and I look forward to engaging in constructive discussion with people like Mr Bibby, because if we want to deliver for the vulnerable in our society, we've all got to be prepared to take the tough decisions to make sure services meet the needs of the people in our communities.
Heather Anderson.
Thank you, Presiding Officer. This morning I was dismayed to learn that the Principal of Dundee University has gone ahead with an announcement of a further £20 million of cuts, which would require up to 200 more job losses at the university. The impact this is having on the staff at Dundee University in our town cannot be overstated. I'm particularly concerned that university has, in my view, failed to adequately engage with the trade unions, despite significant public funding having been provided to prevent these further job losses. Does the First Minister share my deep concern on behalf of my constituents, and can he provide an update on the Scottish Government's engagement with the university leadership?
First Minister.
So let me first of all say that obviously as a member who represents a constituency that adjoins the City of Dundee, I have local interests in this particular question, but I will answer this as First Minister. The announcement by the University of Dundee this morning of a consultation on further job cuts is extremely disappointing. And Heather Anderson is absolutely right that there is public funding involved, but along with public funding being involved is the necessity to make sure that any utilisation of those public funds is compliant with the conditions that were associated with the Section 25 direction that was given by ministers on a previous occasion. Now, the Scottish Funding Council has looked at the proposals from the University of Dundee and is, in its assessment, believes that the university has complied with the funding conditions. Ministers have not been assured on the detail of this, and we will require to see this as the direction came from ministers. Of course, we've got to be very careful about the accountabilities here, because the University of Dundee is an independent institution. The Scottish Funding Council acts independently, but on this particular issue, there is a ministerial direction using powers in Section 25 of legislation which directs how this funding can be used. The Education Secretary has spoken to the University Principal, also the Chair of Court, and also with the Funding Council about these issues.
Oh, Christ. Fucking hell, yeah. Oh, Davinia.
And the government will continue to engage. But the assurance I will give Heather Anderson is this, that the government will be absolutely attaching the greatest priority to meaningful and effective dialogue with members of staff who I recognise will be feeling deeply alarmed by the announcements that were made by the university, and the conditions from the government require substantive engagement with staff and trade unions, and the government will make sure that that is the case.
Andrew Baxter.
Thank you, Presiding Officer. When the call comes, Coast Guard rescue officers drop everything, leaving work, family and home to help save lives. I'm sure the First Minister shares my concerns about proposals from the Maritime and Coast Guard Agency to remove payments for emergency call-outs and training. And will he join MSPs from across Parliament in calling on the UK Government and MCA to think again? What action will he take to highlight the vital role these officers play in keeping our communities safe?
First Minister.
I'm grateful to Mr Baxter for raising such an important issue, and this arises out of a recent court decision which has resulted in the Maritime and Coast Guard Agency withdrawing payments to individuals who are volunteering as part of the Coast Guard service. Now, Mr Baxter is absolutely right about the significant dependence we have on individuals volunteering, but the removal of payments as opposed to the payment of expenses is quite a significant factor to be wrestled with by the volunteers in the Coast Guard team. I will happily write to United Kingdom Government Ministers on this question. It's an entirely reserved issue, as Mr Baxter correctly sets out. But in setting out that view, I will set out the fact that Mr Baxter has raised with me in Parliament, and the issue commands support across the political spectrum, and I'll reflect that in the communication to the MCA.
Can I say, unless we get shorter questions and shorter answers, we're going to get a lot fewer questions than we did last week. Katie Clark.
Research from the GMB trade union has found that over 1 million people in Scotland are now affected by council tax debt arrears, with almost 250,000 threatened with court action last year. Will the Scottish Government look at reforming debt collection processes similar to the reforms announced for England by the UK Government and already implemented in Wales?
First Minister.
The Government has, of course, more extensive support in place to support council tax payments, because council tax benefit exists in Scotland where it doesn't exist in other parts of the United Kingdom because of policy decisions taken by this Government. So we're providing practical support to people in the payment of their council tax bills. Now, we have written off a certain amount of council tax debt, but obviously council tax payments are essential to support the delivery of local services. But I will explore what other measures can be taken to ensure advice and support is available to people to make sure they can pay council tax. But I stress, many people are eligible for council tax benefit in Scotland when they are not in other parts of the UK.
Alan Brown.
Thank you, Presiding Officer. Changes made by the UK Government mean that the Motability Scheme annual allowable mileage reduces from 20,000 to 10,000 miles, but critically excess mileage charges go up fivefold to 25 pence per mile. One of my constituents has been in contact with me saying she's concerned she can't afford a lease for a new car, which is a lifeline service. While the July the 1st deadline doesn't apply in Scotland, can the First Minister outline when proposals were announced for their agreement for the service in Scotland, and what could be done to offset another Westminster attack on the disabled?
First Minister.
Mr Brown raises a significant issue, particularly for mobility car users in rural Scotland, where distance issues will be far more extensive than in more urban communities. Now, these are changes made by the United Kingdom Government as a consequence of changes to tax exemptions in the November budget last year, implemented and taken forward by the UK Labour Government, which quite correctly, Mr Brown says, erodes the rights of disabled people. The 1st of July 2026 commencement date announced by Motability for its changes in the rest of the UK is not going to apply in Scotland. However, there may be other changes required, but I will ensure that relevant ministers are in dialogue with Motability and also with Mr Brown to make sure that the legitimate concerns he raises with me are properly pursued to protect users in Scotland and particularly those in rural areas.
Holly Bruce.
To ask the First Minister if he will join me in celebrating the contribution of refugees and migrants to communities across Scotland, and can he provide an update on when
Green constituency MSP legend Holly Bruce. Hi Holly. Rupert would call her a lefty loony or postmodern neo-Marxist, if you wish. Hang on. Dirt. Hello, Dirt. 313. Welcome. I am Mercat79 Scotty I, a Scottish disabled Marxist streamer. I talk about health, disability and benefits and politics. We are currently watching Backbenchers Questions to the First Minister in Holyrood. This is Holly Bruce, Scottish Green constituency MSP, and she is amazing. I'm a Scottish Green Party member and an eco-socialist. Hello. We are halfway through. So there's other questions to come after Holly's.
his government will introduce the long-awaited Scottish Human Rights Bill so that the freedoms of new Scots are protected.
First Minister.
President Officer, let me say to Holly Bruce that the Government is working on the human rights legislation, and obviously we will bring that forward when it is fully developed. It is complex legislation and will require substantive dialogue with Parliament. In relation to her question on the welcome to refugees, I associate myself entirely with her comments, and I think Scotland has always been, and certainly under my leadership will always be, a welcoming and an inclusive country. I saw there was quite a contrast on the streets of Glasgow at the weekend between many thousands of peaceful individuals setting out their welcome to refugees and a limited number of balaclava-wearing individuals doing Nazi salutes on the streets of our country. And I could not condemn those individuals and their behaviour more strongly today in this Parliament. This is a welcoming country, and the behaviour of the far right has no place on our streets.
Don Black.
Based. I am okay. Well, relative. I am disabled. My right knee is being a menace. It is fucking huge. And I am swithering whether or not to go to my GP and ask, do I need to go on water tablets? I am 47, for fuck's sake. I'm far too young to go on water tablets. I'm not a fucking boomer. Fuck. I'm nowhere near that age yet, I think. But if my health is it's going downhill, nah. So I've got arthritis and musculoskeletal issues. And my bones and connective tissue are getting eaten away. Yay. Autoimmune diseases. Fucking horrible. Yeah. Hence the main reason I talk about health and disability and benefits. And politics, more commonly. I am also a massive football fan. Scotland won. I was alright with the performance, mostly. A little bit worried about Friday's match against Morocco. Hopefully, next Wednesday, we will beat Brazil, or at least draw with them. Ideally, I'd want to win both of those matches. Yay, gotta love degenerative things. It's fun. And the Department for Work and Pensions were hell-bent on making sure that I got the minimum amount of money. I don't need to worry so much now. My benefit's now up here. Yay. So I'm on adult disability payment, which is the Scottish version of PIP. I'm still on I'm on a joint claim for universal credit with my husband, who is my full-time carer. And I'm still panicking about that because that Glaswegian bastard who is now in Caxton House. So there's the disability component for him looking after me and me being disabled. That's got the sword of Damocles hanging over it. Yeah. Oh God, I've forgotten who. I'm assuming Haaland scored. Was that Iraq? Give me a minute. Who did Norway play? Oh, it was Iraq. Oh God, he got an own goal. Ouch. What a surprise. Erling Haaland scored. I'm stunned, I say, stunned. Oh, I feel for you, Durd. Welcome in, lovely Iraqi person. The earlier match, France-Senegal, I watched parts of it. I will be watching the highlights of all the matches later on. He is a really good fucking striker at the end of the day. Well done, Haaland. You got a double. Round of applause, I guess. I feel for Iraq. I do, in many, many different ways.
Offshore Energies UK has warned that North Sea energy infrastructure should be designated critical national infrastructure and as such should be guarded by the Navy and Air Force to protect against potential Russian attacks. The Westminster UK Government has failed for years to properly invest in adequate defence provision in our North Sea, leaving our energy infrastructure vulnerable. Does the First Minister agree that it's urgent that additional defence investment is directed towards the North Sea as a priority, and will he join me in calling on the Westminster Government to do so?
First Minister.
There's obviously been a great deal of debate around this issue in the course of the last few days subsequent to the resignation of the Secretary of State for Defence. And the point that Don Black puts to me is an important one because we have huge coastline interests and maritime interests around the coastline of Scotland. But in my view, that is not adequately protected because of the disproportionate investment that is made by the UK Government in weapons of mass destruction that the UK cannot now adequately support, as well as maintain our defence footprint to protect the vital interests and infrastructure that Don Black refers to. So I think the shift in UK priorities to protect our coastline.
Stay hydrated. Self-care is good care. Take your meds if you need to take any. Stay based. Free Palestine. And keep your fingers crossed for good football results and the next cabinet resignation. So that is now John Healey gone. Bye, John. See you later. So the defence investment plan. He was not happy with it. He would get it first before it got actually published for the... It's meant to be announced first in the House of Commons. I think it has been this time, oddly enough. But national security and all that involved. So there's what's known as the Strategic Defence Review, but what's the thing that is up the road from me, essentially? 18 miles. Fuck it, I'll make it easier for myself. It's about 20 miles west up northwest from me. All that one. That's never included. Apparently. See you later, Alex. Have a good sleep. I will catch you later on today. Mwah. Bye. Rejoice, we have Flow Snake. The back of two, Flow Snake. What are you doing up? Hello. I will catch you later, my snaky comrade. Stay hydrated. Self-care is good care. Take your meds if you need to take any. Stay based. Free Palestine. And say hello to the snakelets for me when they're awake in the morning. Flow Snake is amazing. Praise be Flow Snake.
To make sure that to the north of Scotland we have actually got some capability to stand up to the threats that we face from Russia under the Putin regime. It requires us to reshape our defence priorities.
Oh, are you sticking around? Hello, Flow Snake. You are awesome. Welcome. So, woohoo, I've got a few of you on YouTube and a few of you on Twitch. Hello, everyone.
And a greater investment in maritime conventional defence forces and the removal of our commitment to nuclear weapons would, for me, be a far more sensible defence strategy for this country.
Adam Harley.
My constituent Hugo is 9 years old. Following a case of strep throat, he developed severe OCD, tics, hallucinations and significant weight loss. He was eventually diagnosed.
Ooh. He's just up the road from me. Well, the constituency, not him. That's actually Holyrood is in Edinburgh. I know where that constituency is. Just up there. Roughly.
With the autoimmune condition Pans Pandas. Today, Hugo's doing much better, but only after his family spent over £6,000 to see a private specialist in London. Sadly, Hugo's experience is not unique. Families across Scotland have been forced to seek private treatment because Pans Pandas is not recognised within NHS clinical guidance. So, does the First Minister agree that no parent in Scotland should be forced to pay thousands of pounds just to make their child well? And will his government take steps to ensure that Pans Pandas is properly recognised in NHS guidance?
First Minister.
I'm sorry to hear about the circumstances that Mr Harley raises about his constituent Hugo, and this will come into the category of rare diseases because, as Mr Harley refers to, there will be relatively few cases that are applied, and the Government has measures in place through the Rare Disease Action Plan, which tries to address the very issues that Mr Harley raises with me, of identifying what steps we can take within what is a very broad National Health Service to make sure the needs of absolutely everybody and their specialist requirements are met. But I'll ask the Health Secretary to engage directly about this constituency case and see if there is any further action that can be taken. But I reassure Mr Harley that on the general question, the Government is focusing on trying to ensure that rare diseases are properly and fully appreciated within the NHS.
Lloyd Melville.
Thank you, and I refer to my register of interest as a sitting Angus councillor. In recent days, the BBC has highlighted the long-standing issues with empty units on Arbroath High Street, a matter which I know is a key priority for my constituents. So can the First Minister tell the Chamber what steps the Scottish Government is taking to support Scotland's high streets, including in Arbroath, so that they can remain the thriving hearts of our communities?
First Minister.
So one of the steps that we took was to devolve empty property relief to local authorities with a concurrent transfer of £105 million each year to local government. And to incentivise the reoccupation of empty non-domestic properties, eligible properties may claim 100% fresh start relief for up to 12 months. and we are determined, alongside the steps that are in place which will benefit many of the businesses or properties to which Mr Melville refers, will be eligible for the small business bonus scheme as well. The Government is also supporting regeneration in town centres with over £50 million committed in the 26-27 budget, and I hope these measures are effective and successful in supporting the work that Mr Melville is taking forward to support developments in Arbroath.
Carol Mochan.
Thank you, Presiding Officer. With the World Cup underway and the Commonwealth Games due to take place here in Scotland over summer, thousands of children and young people here in Scotland are being exposed to alcohol marketing, and this is associated with national pride and with sport and alcohol branding. What assessment has the Scottish Government made of the impact of these alcohol partnerships, given there is clear evidence to suggest that more young people are exposed to alcohol? The more young people are exposed to alcohol marketing, the more likely they are to consume and start drinking alcohol at an early age.
First Minister.
The last time I checked, I don't think, technically, if you're having a meal with your family or anything, you can have a drink from age 14 up. But just because Blah Beer is sponsoring a sporting event or major sports tournament like the Commonwealth Games doesn't mean that young people are going to be drinking alcohol or starting early. Millennials and Zoomers don't drink that much, from the ones that I speak to on a regular basis. Desperate Gen Xers like myself, we do. Again, not all of us, we are not a monolith. But I do drink. The younger generations don't drink that much. Just saying. You know, like my niece, oh God, most of their friends do not. Let's just say my niece is a hell of a younger than me, and the vast majority of their friends don't drink that much. They might have a glass of wine or a beer or something if they're out having a meal or something like that, but they don't do what I do, which is sit at the house and drink beer or cider, and sometimes I even buy myself like a bottle of vodka or something. But yet younger generations don't drink that much.
A crucial part of that work is the engagement the Government takes forward with those stakeholders who are concerned about the issues that Carol Mochan raises, and also the participation of the alcohol industry in taking forward the responsible approaches to alcohol consumption and the requirement to ensure that forms part of our wider discussion. Now, I know from my discussions with organisations such as the Scotch Whisky Association the importance they attach to being active participants in the promotion of that responsible message, so that individuals, when in any way, shape or form exposed to alcohol marketing, are able to make a considered judgment about the issues concerned with consumption of alcohol.
Stephen Kerr.
Presiding Officer, in last weekend's Sunday Post, the Justice Secretary announced a significant shift away from custodial sentences as part of the Government's efforts to reduce Scotland's prison population. Now, given the implications for victims, public safety and confidence in the justice system, why was this policy announced through a newspaper interview rather than to this Parliament? And does the First Minister accept that the answer to prison overcrowding is to provide sufficient prison capacity, not to send fewer offenders to prison?
First Minister.
I'm not sure that the article to which Mr Kerr refers in any way is a development of the government policy. I think it's a statement of the government's policy. So I don't think I'm very, very attuned to the importance of the government setting out its policy positions to Parliament first, and that's exactly what we'll do. So, however, it is important that ministers are engaged in media interviews with representatives of the media. I'm sure we'd be criticised if we didn't do that. The government has got to strike a balance about ensuring that the prison estate is safe for prisoners and for staff. We have also got to make sure that those who have committed significant and heinous crimes are incarcerated. Mr Kerr will be aware that we are seeing in current detail on the longer sentences being delivered because of the nature of crimes that are being committed. That is driving the prison population, and the government has always had an interest and a policy priority of ensuring that community justice plays a part in the approaches that we take. And all of these elements are part of the wider delivery of government policy on justice.
Bob Doris.
Presiding Officer, my constituent is unable to secure an NHS prescription for tirzepatide, better known as Mounjaro, for weight management despite criteria approved by the Scottish Medicines Consortium in June 2024, indicating approval for restricted use, including the circumstances that impact my constituent. NHS Group Glasgow and Clyde does not include the treatment on its formulary for prescription for weight management, or not yet anyway. They say work is ongoing. Can I ask the First Minister whether they agree that 2 years after SMC approval is simply too long for health boards to add Mounjaro into their formularies so prescribing can be considered, and what action can Scottish Government take to tackle this delay by health boards?
First Minister.
So individual health boards have got to respond to the judgments made by the Scottish Medicines Consortium. We would want that to be undertaken on a timely basis to ensure that individuals can have access to treatments that are deployed, and I will ask the Health Secretary to explore the steps being taken by Greater Glasgow and Clyde Health Board to ensure that the necessary urgency is being applied in this respect.
Craig Hoy.
Sir, the First Minister recently visited the White Sands in Dumfries, where, despite significant local opposition, work is underway on a controversial £70 million flood defence scheme. The community fears the impact on businesses, the environment, and has concerns about soaring costs amid reports of insufficient funds in Scottish Government flood defence funding. So will the First Minister confirm two things? That if this SNP-backed flood defence scheme, that his government will not move the goalposts by capping or delaying its £55 million contribution? And will Mr Swinney provide assurance that hard-pressed taxpayers in Dumfriesshire will not be asked to foot the bill if Cycle 1 of the National Flood Fund runs dry, or if the project experiences significant cost overruns?
First Minister.
The White Sands flooding scheme in Dumfries has been under consideration for many, many years, and I accept that there are divided opinions about this particular scheme. But equally, I've been in this Parliament long enough to hear members of Parliament from Dumfries come here to express concern and horror for their constituents when they get flooded by the flooding that takes place at the White Sands. And I have considerable experience of this in my own constituency. I know how terrible flooding is for members of the public. So I'm not actually sure what Mr Hoy wants. Does he want to just leave people vulnerable to flooding in their community? Is that what he wants? And because I think at some point, Mr Hoy, who's now the MSP for Dumfries, has got to decide, is he actually acting to protect his constituents, or is he just coming here to get another press release put out? It's not really how a responsible local member of Parliament should operate. Now, Mr Hoy also will realise that there are enormous challenges in construction projects just now because of external factors over which this government has absolutely no control, principally construction price inflation in relation to which has arisen as a result of the war in Ukraine. These are legitimate factors that we'll work on in partnership with local authorities. What doesn't help is the constant haranguing from the miserablest on the Conservative benches who just come here to complain, offer no solutions, and no wonder there's hardly any of them left here any longer.
By the way, there's 9 of them, so there's... Where is he? I can't even fucking see him. Russell, where are you? Russell, on there. That's Murdo. There's a blank. That is Murdo Fraser. He's list MSP for my home shire. He keeps on trying to unseat on Swinney, but he fails every time. Give your lovely doggo a scritch for me, would you, my dear? And I hope she enjoys her walk. The playfulness of a Labrador and probably the energy of a collie. Mind you, I live in. I had a golden retriever growing up, by the way. I miss her desperately. She was awesome. Praise be honey.
Angela Ross.
Thank you, Presiding Officer. It was to ask the First Minister, we have many homes in Scotland that are still using gas boilers and they're very ineffective, as we know, but there are many oversized boiler systems and they have heat load issues and they're not set on the accurate settings. I wondered if you would consider optimising the present gas boiler systems in order to reduce carbon emissions and also lower costs for people across Scotland. To lower costs for people across Scotland by doing something fairly simple in the short term. Thank you.
First Minister.
So as part of
Technically, by 2035, most of the gas boilers are meant to be gone. It was in the previous government's missions, essentially. No, like, I'm a gas boiler. Even though... That one. No. The radiator in... bathroom, not bedroom. The radiator in our bathroom doesn't fucking work. There is a break in the system somewhere. Like there's a bubble test, so they put a bubble. It's a closed system essentially. It's meant to be completely contained to maintain the pressure. So you have hot water and you have central heating for the house or the flat. But the bubble test doesn't get returned, so the bubbles just meant to go around the system and come back. Then they bleed out. That doesn't happen. They send the bubble through the system and it doesn't come back, which means there's a break or the pipe's crimped, closed, so the bubble doesn't come back round. I'm saying there's a break in the system, like an actual hole in one of the pipes somewhere. Hence, radiator not working. And it takes forever to get hot water. I'm mostly having showers. You can't get a hot bath. For someone who loves baths with all of her heart, not having baths is bad. It sucks. Yeah. So that system, the boiler's through that wall over there. That system needs ripped out now. Please give us underfloor heating, which means they would have to do up my fucked floorboards. But I can't. Someone told me I can't remember what other system they might be contemplating. So it'll be an electric system essentially, not gas boiler. Anything that can decouple this household from fucking gas prices, please just fucking do it. You do not need to be using fossil fuels to heat people's houses up, especially ones where the system's fucking broke. Rant over. Shall we continue? She's got a point. I hate having to agree with someone from Reform. Whoa. But yeah, the gas boilers are meant to be getting ripped out over the next sort of decade, essentially.
the Government's approach in this respect is to move towards more sustainable heating solutions that will be good for the planet but also good for householders, so they'll have lower costs. So I'm agreed with Angela Ross that we need to get to a situation where we've got lower heating costs for householders. For the specifics about the configuration of gas boiler schemes, I have to say I'm not the world's expert today, but I will have the issues explored. But the point in principle I'd say to Angela Ross is the prevailing direction of government policy is to encourage a move to more sustainable heating solutions, and there is good progress being made in that, and that will obviously be reflected in the heating buildings legislation that the government brings forward.
Megan Gallagher.
Thank you, Presiding Officer. On the 7th of April, I attended a Community Council meeting in Newt Hill regarding the proposed solar farm development at Northfield on Biggar Road. Residents raised concerns about its proximity to housing and the cumulative impact of further developments in the area, including a proposed data centre. There are also concerns that Oaks Energy has provided misleading information about the project and its local impact. So does the First Minister agree that Scotland needs a clear energy strategy to guide such developments? And does he agree that developers must engage openly and honestly with communities so projects are developed with them rather than upon them?
First Minister.
I very much agree with the last point that Megan Gallagher made, that I think local dialogue on these projects is really important. I'm conscious of a number of very sensitive projects. I had one raised with...
That was Megan Gallagher. That is Russell Finley's second in command, essentially. So Russell Finley is leader of the Scottish Conservative and Unionist Party. She's the deputy, essentially, for that little contingent at the back of the chamber. So yes, I have got mixed feelings about this data centre. Don't use our Scottish water, thanks. We may be the rainiest part of the UK. Well, are we? Give me a minute, I will check. Oh, I was right, it is us. This is the stat that I'm about to give you is just Glasgow. I repeat, it is just this city. 5.5 foot of rain a year. Yeah. Mental. Scotland is the wettest nation in the UK, consistently recording the highest average annual rainfall of the 4 countries. While England, Wales and Northern Ireland all have very wet mountainous regions, Scotland's western coast and highlands bear the brunt of Atlantic weather fronts, resulting in its overall status as the rainiest country. See what happened? I'm here on the west coast in Glasgow, best city in the fucking planet. Thank you. There seems to be a lot of mountains north of here. So the weather coming off the Atlantic comes in, hits them and dumps all the rain down the west coast. Primarily, Glasgow gets the most of it. Probably gets about 80% of it, actually. I think that... Here. The wettest overall location in the UK is Styhead in the Lake District. Sitting at the head of Borrowdale Valley, it received a staggering average rainfall 5 metres. Isle of Skye, Hungaly, Snowdonia, Cross Hill and Tenty Tyrone. Fucking hell. That is a lot. I wonder where Glasgow is in that. Oh, got it wrong. It's 6 foot of fucking rain. Christ. Ah, that's Glasgow. So, rejoice. Scotland is the rainiest part of the UK. It's not that. They take the water, they use they use the water to cool the fucking thing, and it gets polluted in the process, and it can't be used again. No amount of filtration or anything is going to make that useful for anything else. For more on that, just take a look at the data centres in the States.
Me in a question time the other week there about an AI data centre, and I'm conscious of the concern that exists in local communities. So the point that Megan Gallagher makes about good, active and engaged local dialogue by developers is absolutely critical. Obviously, these issues have to be considered as part of the wider energy use of the energy generation measures that we take forward, and the Government, of course, has a very clear policy direction to support and encourage the development of renewable energy within Scotland.
Martin Day.
Thank you. The Scotland chair of the Federation of Small Businesses has warned that the increases we've seen in fuel and energy prices hit small businesses particularly hard because they do not have the buying power to smooth out price bumps or hedge prices. And they're calling on the UK Government to introduce a time-limited 5p cut to fuel duty while the higher prices remain. Does the FM agree that Westminster must act to protect businesses in Scotland, and can he provide any update on the Scottish Government's engagement with the UK Government on this issue?
First Minister.
So the Ministers wrote to the United Kingdom Government about the proposed 5p increase in fuel duty, which was due to take effect from September of this year. Thankfully, the Chancellor has indicated that that will not take its course. However, there remains a substantive issue that Mr Day raises, which is about the fact that many businesses and householders are paying very high costs for their energy in an energy-rich country. And my view on all of that is that we will receive much more benefit from Scotland's energy bounty if Scotland's energy is in Scotland's hands.
And Iris Dwayne.
Thank you, Presiding Officer. As we stand here in this chamber, in my region, Sisters Against Cuts is pleading with this government to step in and stop the cuts to the Murray Initiative's Women's Service. This service provides essential support to survivors of gender-based violence and substance misuse, with service users fearing for what the future may hold. Therefore, does the First Minister agree with me that the loss of this service would be an immense loss to the protection of women and girls in Glasgow, and can he further commit to exploring funding options to retain these vital services?
First Minister.
I recognise the importance of services being provided to women and girls who are the victims of domestic violence and gender-based violence. The Government, through the Equally Safe programme, provides funding for a whole range of different projects around the country, and also provides support to local authorities to provide financial support to individual organisations. Now, I'll explore the specifics of the case that Iris Dwayne has put to me to ensure that any steps the Government...
Welcome back, Davinia, my dear. Yeah, they're not going to give us anything useful. You are correct, Full Snake.
can take will be taken to ensure the provision of effective services that meet the needs of women and girls who have to go through the horror of experiencing domestic violence or gender-based violence.
Thank you, First Minister. That concludes First Minister's questions, and apologies to the many members who I was unable to take today. The next item of business is a statement by Tom Arthur on Scottish Government investment in our Union Street and the People's Palace. Before we commence, we'll have a couple of minutes break to allow a change of positions in the front benches. Thank you.
Right. Okay. Got it on all, haven't I? Yes, I got it on all. Okay. What else did I have? Other sort of political shenanganery. Oh, God. God damn it. Bloody frame drops annoying the hell out of me. Let's just go back to the home page. Home page. Oh. Let's just quickly listen in. No problem, my dear. Live? Oh, he's not live anymore. Oh, he's finished. Okay, okay. Yes. Refresh. Yeah, he's not live anymore, I thought that. Okay. Unbelievable. What the hell? Oh, God. Oh, Stephen Gittins. Oh. Yeah, let's go and let's see what Stephen has to say. Where are we? Where are we? Where are we? There we go.
Stephen Gethins. How are you doing, Stephen?
I'm good. I'm getting to grips with a new and a big portfolio, but I'm enjoying myself, and it's nice to be closer to home.
Brilliant. I should say I'm political reporter Steph Braun as well. I missed that off at the start. But no, It's strange to have you in Holyrood still. You've obviously spent a lot of time in Westminster.
Yeah.
Was it 2015 you first got in?
2015 initially to 2019. Then outside for a few years and back for a couple of years. But I have to say the commute's much better. Although I think Stephen Flynn and I are still finding our way around the building.
I was a legend as Sonic. I really came into my own when I got my PlayStation. OG Tomb Raider, Crash Bandicoot, things of that nature. Call of Duty, the original, the very first one, because I am old. I also had an Amstrad, and I played little games on it. Most Flying Simulator 1 and quiz type ones that are approved for helping with IQ and things of that nature. Oh, Liverpool Jacks went live.
But it's really nice to be at home in a parliament where you feel that you've got a future, and a parliament where you can feel that you can get things done for your constituents and for people in Scotland.
Yeah. So do you feel like you can do things more for people in this parliament, be more productive, have more of an effect?
Absolutely, you can. So I think first of all, it's a privilege to be a minister, one with a really big, for me, a big chunky portfolio,
Really big, yeah.
One that I really care about, and one that makes a difference. So we're talking about how do we deal with things like energy costs, creating jobs, the idea that just transition, Scotland's massive renewables potential. That's something that's contributing significantly to households, but also to broader European security. That brings me to the other bits, that external affairs bit. Brand Scotland. We're seeing it with the World Cup just now. Scotland is a fantastic global brand, and that's not just something that's nice to see, it's also something that keeps people in jobs back home as well. And of course the Europe brief, 10th anniversary of Brexit coming up, and our relationship with the EU continues to be absolutely vital in terms of our well-being and our economy, but also we know a big driver in why people are moving towards independence as well.
Yeah, 10 years since Brexit. Gosh, that had not occurred to me until you just said it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Next week. Yes.
Yeah. Oh gosh. Yeah. That's gone so fast, and so much has happened in that time. So you've obviously settled into Holyrood well. You're finding the commute a lot better. You called someone an honourable member the other day, didn't you?
Do you know what annoyed me about that? I was open.
Two minutes, please. I will return. Do not worry. Edit turn. Hello.
Opening and closing a debate, and it was the first time I'd spoken. So as a first-time speaker, I was opening, and I went through a 15-minute speech, without any Westminster bad habits, and I got 2 minutes from the end of my second speech at the very end, having done 3 hours of debate, and tripped over in the final hurdle when the First Minister was sitting right next to me as well. Didn't make it any better. But
I think he had a bit of a giggle, didn't he?
He did. Everybody had a bit of a giggle. So it was nice to see that. So I managed to get all the way through the debate, having shaken off my Westminster bad habits, and then.
Let's see if I can get my other camera working. Hello again, Flow Snake. I return. Right, let's see. Just bring that down for a second. Right, let's see if I can get my actual camera instead of the webcam on the laptop. That's source. There we go. Woohoo! Hello, hello.
And tripped up at the very end.
Oh, well, at least you've got it out of the way now.
It's gotten out of the way. It was going to happen.
Hopefully it doesn't rear its head again.
It was going to happen. I just got, so when you're working in a particular place and you pick up those habits.
Of course, yeah. And there are so many ways that you do things at Westminster. There's certain things you have to say, certain ways you have to behave, and it's...
I've tried to avoid the worst of Westminster sort of weirdness and bad habits over the years, but I think referring to somebody as honourable member, actually, do you know what? It's actually quite a nice Westminster thing, because you're meant to treat your opponents with respect so that you deal with the substance of an issue rather than personal stuff. But yes.
Do we think that happens in the House of Commons chat? Do we? No personal attacks at all, ever, honestly. Last time I checked, PMQ still exists.
It didn't help. I was sitting right next to the new boss when it all happened.
Well, we'll get on to the World Cup to begin with, and it's all the rage at the moment after Scotland beat Haiti at the weekend.
Yes.
Where were you for the game?
My wife from the south of England persuaded me that we should go out, so I went to the pub. I don't go to the pub very often anymore, but we went to the pub and we went to the pub at 1 a.m. in the morning.
Nice.
I felt my life's not that interesting, so that was a really exciting thing to do. And we were there right to the end. It was brilliant.
Yeah, amazing atmosphere.
Amazing atmosphere. It meant Sunday. I was absolutely exhausted all of Sunday because I didn't get to my bed till about 3:30 in the morning. But everybody was celebrating, and it was great to see.
Well, yeah, speaking as an early Scottish political individual that I am, yeah. You're being too nice there, Stephen, honestly. We are capable of brutality at the end of the day, not verbal brutality, let's put it like that, not actual brutality. Unless you're McMurdoch, literally done for beating up his girlfriend. Your government in waiting, everyone. Oh, bollocks.
All the lights. And I remember during the day I was out and about in Dundee, people had the flags out, kids had their Scotland strips on. It was such a buzz around the place, and it was just really nice to see.
Yeah, it really brings everybody together.
Brings
doesn't
everybody
it?
together,
And the
yeah.
effect it has is just great. And you must have been pleased to see Scotland wearing, well, I like to say orange shirts. I think they're orange. Some people think they're coral, some people think they're red, but they're orange. You must have been pleased with that, being a Dundee United supporter.
They weren't wearing tangerine though, were they?
Maybe it's not quite tangerine.
Oh, so the lovely, lovely Stephen there. He's a Dundee United supporter. How you doing there, Kevin? Right, Celtic fan. I really should be supporting my home team, which is St Johnstone, which is just down the road from Dundee. I check in to see how my home team's doing. Don't worry. Nay. As much as I can say about Saints. Sorry, Saints. I do apologise.
No, it wasn't quite. I don't think anybody could have described that as tangerine.
No, it's got kind of a slightly pinky, reddy tinge to it,
salad.
hasn't it?
I don't want to get into the. I don't mind getting involved in some controversy.
So they're talking about the strip that Scotland were wearing for their match. Apparently it's salmon. Okay. Yep, get rid of that. Lower you down for a second. You will see my glorious pale face momentarily, hopefully. You know what? Haha! Fantastic. There we go. Oh, no, the increase you again. So I can see my chat. £63 fucking pounds. Oh, fuck. Nah. What's it saying? Okay, accept all. So Debenhams is calling it Trace Scarlet with purple lines. I've heard the vast majority of people describe that as salmon. I guess.
But I think the colour debate on Scotland's away strip might be one a bit too far. Some very strong views around that particular strip. But do you know what astonished me about that strip? So many fans have bought it and are wearing it. So it's clearly a fan favourite.
Yeah, absolutely. I think more people have bought that shirt than the home strip. So it's making the crowd sort of look a bit sort of Netherlandsy.
Yes, and it did make the Scotland end really easy to pick out during the Haiti game as well. Yeah, because obviously with the Haiti sort of home strip, I think being quite similar to the Scotland strip, so it made it much easier to pick out.
Yeah, I think they're in the home strip for the next couple of games. So
yes.
But we'll still see that.
I think there was a stat somebody said, maybe I'm wrong, that Scotland had struggled to ever win in their away strip at a World Cup.
Oh. Rejoice, based YouTube live streamer and content creator. A couple of words. How goes it, my Welsh comrade? It do be a couple of Burks, well, one of them at least. Hello, A. Burke. Thank you so much. I assume it's you, Lewis. I assume. Hello, hello. Are people still in PC? God damn, these frame drops are annoying the fuck out of me. Stephen Gittins. He is now a cabinet member, so he is an MSP now. I can't remember his cabinet position. Sorry, Stephen. Steph Braun, reporter for The National, the pro-independence paper up here in Scotland. Night, night, I will catch you later. Stay hydrated. Self-care is good care. Take your meds if you need to take any, and I think you do. Stay based. Stay based. Free Palestine, and watch out for auditors in the area.
There's probably some mad stat.
There's a mad stat somewhere, but they've not played that many games, so you can always find lots of mad stats around it.
Yeah, absolutely. So if I was to ask you what Scotland being in the World Cup can do for the country in a wider sense, so politically, economically, socially, what would be your answer to that?
So first of all, let's talk about the local level. Local level, seeing kids getting behind a football team, that's just great. You know, I mean, all these kids wondering about, as I said, Dundee at the weekend with our strips, excited into it. Even just looking, and then there's the external stuff, learning a wee bit about Haiti. When would we learn about Haiti? A country with a fascinating history, a tragic present, but so nice to broaden our horizons and throw our two countries together in a way. But crucially, there's that international level. The World Cup is the biggest international stage. And who could be better ambassadors for Scotland than the Tartan Army? In terms of soft power, visibility, people thinking about Scotland. And then fundamentally, we know that that delivers jobs and investment at home by tourism, sales of food and drink sales. And that's why the First Minister's there. You know, the First Minister should be there. Every leader of a country that's got a team playing in the World Cup, they go. It's a big event. It's a big moment for every country. And that's why it would have been right for the First Minister to be there anyway. But he seems to have packed out his schedule with, you know, speaking to the bourbon industry in Kentucky. Really important. And that keeps people in work back home in Scotland. If you're in a small village that relies on the whisky distillery, selling food and drink, also in my own area, the energy sector and the jobs that are around there, higher education sector that I used to work in. So yes, there's a fun element and there's an educational element about learning about all these different countries. I know that, you know, with my own kids, we go through the different countries and we talk about them. When was the last time anybody talked about the Cape Verde Islands, for example?
Exactly,
you know?
they got a draw against
And
Spain.
they got a draw against
Wow.
Spain yesterday. How fantastic. Less great for Spain, brilliant for the Cape Verde Islands. What an opportunity to bring the world together. And you know what, I was delighted that Scotland won, and there was a wee bit of me feeling a little bit guilty that it was against Haiti, who've had to go through so much in their recent history.
Yeah, and this is an expanded version of the World Cup now, so we are getting more nations that we wouldn't normally see as well, that we're being able to learn about, like Haiti, that has got, like you say, this tragic present that, and I know that the team are a real source of strength for them.
Yeah.
And I think you could see that with the fans and the way that Haiti played as well. They were very aggressive. They absolutely went for it.
They went for it. Fair play. Yeah.
Yeah.
They had their big moment on the world stage and they went for it. And good for them.
Yeah, you never know. Who knows? They could give Brazil or Morocco some trouble. Who knows? You just don't know how these things are going to work out.
And maybe
sometimes.
we could give Brazil, Morocco some trouble as well. But let's see.
So.
Let's see. But I was also just watching Cape Verde and the joy that you saw of the fans and more.
The goalkeeper was almost in tears, wasn't he?
It was almost.
Morocco are pretty much 20 places higher in the world rankings than us. Yeah. Technically, Brazil is 6, but I will say again, they're playing like shite. I am more worried about Morocco than I am about Brazil, oddly enough. Now, if we manage to draw these last 2 matches, we get through. Yay. First time since 1974. First time in my life. Ever. Well, first time in my life, essentially. So the last time they got into the next stage, the last 16, if you will, 1974. I was born in 79, hence the name. But yes. So if this happens, it'll be a first for me. Keep your fingers crossed for these 2 matches, Friday and Wednesday. Your lass will be watching. I am of a mind if I will be streaming it. That means I'll be streaming for 3 days in a row. So First Ministers, the leaders' questions. So that's Anna, Malcolm, Russell and Alex Cole-Hamilton. And Gillian's taking the questions for us. So there, the leaders' questions on Friday. So you get the backbenches on Tuesdays, half an hour, and you get an hour for the leaders' ones on Thursday still. Then on Saturday, I have my Andy back, so it'll be a Katie and Andy live stream. I'm still trying to figure out what sort of topic we will be doing. Don't worry, I will get back to Andy either today or Thursday, so we have at least a couple of days to get everything sorted and do the relevant research. But I've managed to decide today we can do 3 days of research. Saturday night, 10 p.m, if you want to join us. It will be some sort of political shenanganery. So it might be Victorian villainy or something connected to the First World War. I'm thinking, watch this space. Or maybe some media analysis. So there's a couple of ideas in the old brain box. I will get back to you all. Do not worry. Rejoice, comrades. Dan Abu-Laith. Hello, Dan. How goes it? Look, it's Stephen Gittins.
It's just wonderful, just to see that and have that opportunity on the world stage.
Week.
And goodness knows Scotland have waited long enough for this, so let's make the most of it. You have to absolutely make the most of it. And you know, I'm sure the First Minister won't mind me saying this, but you know, the best ambassador Scotland had in the USA, Tartan Army. What a fantastic advertisement for the country and the kind of country that we are and how we see ourselves, and really good for the First Minister to be out there as well. Soft power, jobs, that international side of it is really, really important.
Yeah, you talked about how packed his schedule was there. I was quite surprised to see that when it came through. He was meeting the mayor of Massachusetts and things like that. He was meeting up with the Tartan Army. And I guess meeting up with the Tartan Army and the Tartan Army seeing him over there is quite important as well, because we're in a time where there's not a lot of trust in politics. People are struggling to relate to politicians. So if he's kind of out there mixing with the fans, showing his support for Scotland and showing how much it means to him as well to be there, that's quite important, isn't it?
Well, it does mean a lot to him.
Yeah.
You know, that's the thing. You know, the First Minister's a Scotland fan. I'm a Scotland fan. And in fairness, you know, that's a view that would be shared across the Scottish Parliament and with Scots everywhere. It's a great way. We can have our debates and discussions, but this is a great way for us all to come together. And the First Minister is the leader of the country, and he's there to support Scotland. And it would have been, and yes, it's really good that he's meeting up with industry and making the case, you know, doing the serious stuff, which is, you know, dead important. You know, it can't emphasise that enough. But also, it would have been unusual for the First Minister to go to Scotland, to go to the USA, go to Boston, and not meet up with the fans who are there already. You know, that's something. And I have to say, and it looked like a lot of fun as well. And that's a bonus.
Yeah, absolutely. So there was some backlash from some areas of the media and some sort of unionist supporters to John Swinney going to the US. We had sort of World Cup jolly from Russell Finlay and things like that. What would be your kind of response to that? Because you clearly think there's a lot of benefits of John Swinney being
benefit to John Swinney being there. Look, the first thing I'd say to those who are criticising the First Minister is Scotland have qualified for the World Cup for the first time in 28 years. You know, have a day off from the old criticising the Scottish Government over this kind of thing. The other thing is, can you imagine the criticism given the economic opportunity, the chance to present Scotland on a world stage for the first time, you know, being at the World Cup for 28 years. Let's reverse this. If John Swinney hadn't gone to the United States, hadn't made
Hang on. I can't make that out. Ringo Pattinson, what is a TOS, right? Think of it as a swear word that begins, it's a 4-letter swear word that begins with C. The last time I tried to put it into my stream title, it wouldn't let me, Streamlabs wouldn't let me do it. So, swear word beginning with C. I will say it here because I can say it if I want to. Rupert Lowe is a cunt. If you come after the Scottish Parliament, you're going to have to deal with me, Rupert. Me. You do not want an angry, disabled Scottish woman on your back. Ugh. What the... You my channel. Not case lefty. Thank you. Yes. Still muted? Good. I've got viewers. I may not have many, but I have viewers. Shut up. This is taking forever to fucking load. Brilliant. Stupid bloody frame drop. Davey! Oh God, yeah, doesn't it? Rejoice, DVB, in the chat. Hi, Davey. Do I have any mods on here? Right. Cool. Save. Ta-da! Hello, Snake. My companion, comrade, even. Type something in the chat for me, would you? While I'm still on here. I just need to check something. I'm trying to. Why that? Weird name. For tonight, you don't need to stay. You don't need to stay a mod, just in case anyone else comes in. Because I can't be arsed. See how long it took me to fucking do that. Christ's sake. Be gone, Ringo Pattinson. Patterson, even. See you later. Well, at least for 24 hours, you're gone.
The case for the whisky industry, hadn't gone to Kentucky, hadn't made the case for investment in our energy sector, hadn't put us on the map in terms of the opportunities that exist in Scotland in the higher education sector, and most of all, building that brand and that soft power that helps deliver jobs at home. That's a massive opportunity and one that you don't get very often, and you need to squeeze every last bit that you can get out of that. So I'd even go further. I'd say, I know the First Minister's a great football fan, but even if he wasn't, he should have been there and making the case. That's what other leaders in the world have done. And I have to say, in recent years in British politics, I've seen this creeping insularity and inward-looking approach, and also exceptionalism, that I don't think is healthy, you know, in a world where where there's interconnectedness and we need to work together. But also fundamentally,
no, I won't be pulling an all-nighter. I'll finish this up, then I'll probably read out. Well, oh God. As far as I'm aware, there's only 2 people on my Twitch that I can read out. Because I don't have 1,000 subscribers yet on YouTube, I can't read out, I can't do anything, I'm not monetized yet. So if you can get everyone and their granny to sub to me on YouTube. Any Discords you're in that are of the same sort of ilk as me, leftist, be it politics or leftist media and analysis, things, people of that nature, people who are socialist and like sport, primarily football for me, but I like other sports. I like tennis. I watch the Six Nations. So yeah, any sort of lefty discords. Like obviously, I get promoted by I get shout outs from like Raptor, Laney, Kev, Elena, the people like that. My left eye gives me praise as well. Says to everyone, go and follow him. Well, it'll be Katie because he's on YouTube. Oh, right. Okay, the video.
it makes your country a less attractive place to visit, to work, to invest in, and that has a real terms impact on the population you represent.
Yeah. So do you think at a time when there is a lot of division in society, whether it's left and right, anti-immigration and pro-immigration, and obviously with football, some sectarian stuff comes into a lot of it sometimes with Celtic and Rangers and things like that, these Scotland matches seem to sort of bring people together in harmony, and we've seen the saltire being used in senses that it hasn't been before in terms of being
You're going to have to expand on that, my comrade. Oh, don't worry. For their little moan that they had, there was more of us, oddly enough. Glasgow is left leaning after all. Red Clydesiders, anyone? Like we're Dem Sock or Sock Dem if you wish here in Glasgow, mostly. Don't get me wrong, there are still Tories and fucking Reform and Restore Egypt up here apparently. But the SNP are big here in Glasgow, and they are the Glasgow Council. They're the administration in the council just now, so the local elections for Scotland next year. May time again, probably. Watch this space. Your last will obviously be covering it. And I might be doing some... I done canvassing for the Holyrood elections and it nearly fucking ended me. So I was canvassing with another Scottish Green member. If you know Glasgow, there's a Tesco on Maryhill Road, so we were on the streets behind that Tesco, and it is mostly hills and fucking stairs. Santa Street can go and do one. My thighs and my calves were fucked, and the least said about my knees and ankles, the better. After we were finished doing our canvassing, I went straight to the pub, where Super Hubby was waiting for me. And I had a few pints to decompress and try and regain some sort of semblance of... Yeah, the two by-elections and the one in Makerfield are on Thursday, so yes, your last will be covering those. So one of the seats is his former one for Westminster, and Stephen Flynn's one, Aberdeen South. So those two are on Thursday. Plus Makerfield, which, by the looks of it, going on the current polling from Monday, Burnham's probably going to win. Probably. And may I hasten to remind everyone, he's a fucking playwright. And he was a member of Labour Friends of Israel. And he campaigned for Better Together. So Burnham can go and do one and all. Yeah. But it looks like he's going to win. Yeah. It was going to be an uphill struggle for her, Dan, unfortunately. I love Iris. She is fucking amazing. I'm glad she's my list MSP. I really am. But yeah, it was going to be an uphill struggle. Literally what I done in the canvassing. Fucking hell. I thought we'd done a really good canvassing campaign for her in the new constituency, which is Glasgow, Maryhill and Kelvin. Burnham is a briefcase wanker. Yeah.
Being on far-right marches and or far-right protests and things like that outside asylum seeker hotels. Do you think that you're seeing people, come together in harmony in these situations, and the Saltire is back to being a sort of positive symbol at this time?
I think it's been really positive. I was watching, there was a video clip that came out the other day that a lot of people will have seen on social media of sort of Scott McTominay being between sort of Naples and going off to be in Scotland. And the message from that, I remember, it was really distinctive. You can't help where you were born, but you can choose who you stand with. What a positive message for Scotland, and about how we see ourselves. It doesn't matter where you're born, it doesn't matter where you come from. You're one of us. You're here. And I've heard so many people are born outside, members of my family are born outside Scotland, but following the Scotland team, getting behind the Scotland team. What a positive message. That is, that all of us together watching that, regardless of where people are born, but they've chosen to be here, they're part of our nation.
Yeah, I thought that was a really positive message as well. Well, I didn't quite click with it at first until I saw a post from Adidas later on with who made that video. The Choose Scotland thing was all about Italy not being in the World Cup. And they were asking Italians to choose Scotland, given the Scott McTominay and sad about Billy Gilmore not being there, but Scott McTominay playing for Napoli is obviously the big connection. So I do wonder whether they have chosen Scotland.
Well, I hope they have, because think about all the Scottish players who are playing in Italy, places like Udinese,
well,
Ferguson, Bologna, various places where we've got some fantastic Scottish players doing really well at Italian clubs. We've also we're very lucky to have I was speaking at the Italian National Day. It was the first sort of national day I was speaking at, and it was the Italian National Day, and we were talking about the impact of the diaspora. I talked about Carlo Carini, who, when I represented Arbroath, the Italian partisan who was born in Arbroath. So these close connections between Scotland and Italy.
Yeah.
So if there are any Italians watching, please get behind Scotland. You know you want to. And you're not in the World Cup at the moment, so you might as well.
Absolutely. They don't seem that they're in the World Cup very often these days.
Let's not go there. We don't want to upset the Italians when we're asking for their support at the same time.
Absolutely. No, please support Scotland.
Oh my God. Oh, Flo Snake, you're screwed. You're screwed, mate. I'm nicking that 2OK wanker. Oh, I love that. That is brilliant. So, what Flo Snake is alluding to there, the one that's running for reform in Makerfield is a plumber. So literally he would have a toolcase. Oh, that is delightful. I fucking love it. Don't tell Kev. He'll nick it.
Just on to some other matters then. We had some concerning news through at the end of last week that a French government report found an Israeli firm had attempted to meddle in the Holyrood election. An investigation by Vigilum, France's Service for Vigilance and Protection against Foreign Digital Interference, identified interference from Israeli firm Black Core in elections in Scotland, France, New York City, and in other places potentially as well. So you wrote to the UK Security Minister on the back of this about these serious allegations and saying that they need to be fully investigated. So what were your initial fears on hearing this news?
So, first of all, I think it speaks to the fact that we're talking about Scotland and the world. The world is interested in what's going on in Scotland. Okay, it's a two-way process, and overall, you want to welcome that. That's a good thing, you know, and it gives you a big opportunity. But we also have to be mindful that foreign election interference is a thing. It's a serious thing. We saw the allegations that have come out about the targeting of Keir Starmer. I know I've been sanctioned by somebody that's been sanctioned by Russia simply for supporting Ukraine in its pursuit of its independence and sovereignty. And these allegations made by the French authorities in this investigation was really serious. And we have to rely on for so much of this for the UK. So I wrote to the Security Minister in the hope that the Security Minister will take this seriously, that they will fully investigate it. And I hope that they will. Now, obviously, there's a lot that they'll be able to share and some stuff that they won't be able to share more publicly. I understand that. But I just want to know that the UK is taking these allegations made against those who are acting against our First Minister as seriously as they should be at a time when foreign interference is something that all politicians of all political parties, be we in Holyrood, Westminster, the Senate, or wherever else, must be taken deeply seriously, and this was a reminder of that. So,
yes. Black Core. Damn it! You just said Israeli, essentially. Please check in case I've got anything wrong here. But literally spying and funding digital posts and things like that to undermine the Holyrood election and targeting Swinney. UK security services need to be fucking checking that out. Yeah. This needs investigated to the fucking fullest. So foreign influence, well, obviously lobbying exists, fuck it. But yeah, actual direct attacks like this, if I say attack, strong language there for that one. But it is essentially an attack on our democracy. Yes. Westminster, Labour government, you bunch of bastards, fucking investigate this and get back to us. John Swinney's part of the Privy Council, by the way. So he gets read into security updates and things of that nature because he's fucking First Minister. I'm banning them things. Big Jerry! Rejoice, comrades. Big Jerry in the chat. Hi, Jerry. Yeah, the UK government don't give a fuck. You don't think it. Can we get rid of this Labour Party, please? I fucking hate it. Yeah, bought and paid for. What's the fucking...
I've written to the Security Minister and asked them to investigate these allegations because I think they deserve...
Give me a minute. Oh, no, type, honestly. Minister, UK. Oh, you're fucking kidding me. Elron, are you here? She's in cabinet now. Fuck. Oh god, she's one of Shabana's underlings. Fucking hell. Yeah, I thought it was the Home Office. Rejoice, comrades. Elron Hubwards, MP. US Security Minister. Fucking brilliant. That's all we bloody well need. Great. Fantastic. Good luck waiting for a reply from her. Oh, who's your MP now, Dan? Lucky you don't need to worry about that. Well, obviously, we all still have to fucking worry about him because he's a fucking Scottish minister. Playwright scum. If you can't tell, me and Dan have a seething hatred of Douglas Alexander. By the way, he was the one that Mary Black took out. Oh no, not that foreign acid again.
That we deserve some answers around that.
Have you heard back yet?
Chris
No,
Murray.
no, nothing
Okay.
back. That's fine. It was just a few days ago, and it was to the security minister. Now it was Dan Jarvis, and I think it's shifted over. So there's been a bit of shuffling about at the top of the UK government as well.
Yeah, I spoke to a couple of sort of polling election experts just at the end of last week when this came through, and they were obviously very concerned about it. And it is something that we're seeing more often with elections, with foreign interference at these days. Particularly social media, I think, has come into that.
Where is he? Right, Chris Murray, MP. So you don't have to doctor yourself, so just get the general area. Chris Murray. What the hell is wrong with my fingers today? MP. Oh. Oh, he's from Glasgow. Oh, you're fucking kidding me. His mum's Margaret Curran. Oh, for fuck's sake. Edinburgh, Easton, Musselburgh. Oh, yeah, you said. That's not a majority. Yeah, right. Scottish Labour Party politician who has been a member of Parliament since the last general election. He gained the seat from Tommy Shepherd. Oh! He took out Tommy. Fuck. Murray is the son of Scottish Labour politician Margaret Curran, Baroness Curran. He grew up in Glasgow and attended Nelly went to Shawlands Academy. He then studied French and German at Oxford, and later studying at the London School of Economics, of LIC if you wish, and attending Harvard as a John F. Kennedy Fellow, the basically foreign policy and political assistant to Harriet Harman, holding the role for 2 years. Harman later supported Murray's candidacy for Parliament and canvassed alongside him in Edinburgh. Fucking hell. He began working as an attaché at the Embassy of the United Kingdom in fucking hell, he was an attaché in fucking France for us. After leaving diplomacy, he worked as a senior government relations advisor for the charity Save the Children. He was a research fellow at IPPR, Scotland think tank. Murray also volunteered as chair of the Refugee Survival Trust and served on the advisory council of These Islands, a think tank. By May 2022, he was policy manager for migration at the Convention of Scottish... Policy manager for migration for COSLA. So that's basically the association for all the councils here in Scotland. Okay. So there you go, people. Margaret Curran, son. No nepotism in politics, honestly.
But they were sort of saying that Scotland is quite united on the issue of Gaza, for example, and it's not, and they didn't see it as an issue that would necessarily have affected anything, which is something positive.
No, but it's a useful reminder for us all that it's there.
Yeah.
And look,
can't be complacent.
I think there's a responsibility on the security agencies to look at this, and that's why I wrote to the Minister. There's also a responsibility on the social media companies to take this seriously and treat it seriously, but we also need to reflect on how we share information as users of social media channels. You know, what's the source? Is it reliable? And there are some certain guidelines that we must always follow in terms of, are we sharing disinformation? All of these areas that we also need to look into as individuals and citizens in a democratic society. And being citizens in a democratic society comes with lots of rights, and it's right that we discuss and we debate and we share information, but we need to make sure that that information is reliable, and that's a responsibility we all share as citizens of a democratic society.
Mm-hmm. So you also have energy as part of your brief. We've seen you have portfolios at Westminster in relation to Europe and foreign affairs, but energy is kind of a new thing, I think, that's kind of linked with yourself. So can you tell us a bit about why the First Minister was keen to put you in charge of this?
Quite keen, and I'm working directly with the First Minister on these issues. So there are a number of areas that we're looking into. One is, it actually fits with the international portfolio. So if you think about it, Scotland is a massive exporter of energy. Mm-hmm. You know, historically, our hydrocarbon sector has been really important internationally, our renewable sector that helps keep the lights on elsewhere in the UK. And we see Europe, now this is really important, Europe's moving closer together in terms of its energy security in reaction to the threat that's been posed by an aggressive Russia. Now, the Norwegians were able to plug some of the gaps in the aftermath of the war in Ukraine. But if you go to other European capitals, there's a lot of talk about how do we secure our energy supplies. Scotland's part of the solution. Mm-hmm. Scotland is absolutely part of the solution. Now, that's our responsibility. You know, we could be a net exporter of electricity and other and energy more broadly, and being part of that pan-European network becomes really important. And as well as the responsibility to be of assistance and to be a responsible international actor in that regard, it also helps deliver jobs and investment at home, especially when you're going through a period of that just transition. Mm-hmm. You know, that
we produce 115% of our electricity needs renewably. So all of our electricity generation, renewables. All of it. We do not need to be tapping Rosebank, which is oil, or Jackdaw, which is natural gas. We don't need them. Labour do not fucking grant licences for them. Oh, fuck. If you can, when they're more amenable to it, DM me a picture of your cockatiels, would you, Davy? I can't hear the birds outside. So yeah, we produce all of our electricity generation up here is fully renewable. We do not need to be touching Rosebank or Jackdaw. Labour, please, I'm not saying please. Just fucking devolve energy, put the remaining parts of energy policy up to us. Thank you. Ran over. Not that they can fucking hear me. And even if they did hear me, they'd probably fucking ignore me.
That we see, and I know that that's a significant challenge, but we've got the resource, we've got the skills, we've got the people, we've got the companies, we've got a massive opportunity.
Mm-hmm. So you've not been long in the door, but you have made your voice heard about calling for powers of energy to be devolved to Scotland.
Away, yeah.
Scotland has some of the highest energy bills in Europe. The price cap is about to go up again. In July. Most energy levers are reserved to Westminster, but there's been some debate, disquiet over time about the SNP saying that they can't set up a publicly owned energy company because many campaigners think that this is doable in the devolved context. Nicola Sturgeon pledged it in 2017. It was quite a big pledge at the time, and then it's been sort of rolled back on, which I think Commonweal branded it misleading and disingenuous last year to say that it can't be done. Where do you stand on this? Because I think that it's something people would be very keen to see happen, but there does seem to be some confusion as to what we can actually do in the current context.
So I think, first of all, we always have to remember, look, I wish Scotland had the full range of powers. That's why I believe in independence. And you're right, we sit in an energy-rich country with high bills. Labour promised to be reduced by 300, but we're about to see them go up yet again in the coming weeks. There are also other issues around transmission charging and around grid that we're seeing significant problems for, which are reserved to Westminster, and also that crucial relationship with the rest of Europe. And I was disappointed that we're not going further in terms of that electricity cooperation, market cooperation with the rest of
I am so sorry, Mr. Gethins and Steph. That super hubby up, just to make sure that I'm completely shut down for when he comes back. He is in the bathroom just now. So I will read out on Twitch. Okay, everyone. We will be going to Xerxes. I don't have any either, Omaha. There's another policy area that I want up here. Not that we'll fucking get it. Let's go and say hi to Xerxes, shall we? I am so sorry, YouTube comrades. I really am. It's a long slog. Argentina won. No surprise. So, I can't remember what time England's game kicks off. Fuck it. Your lass will not be live today. She is taking Wednesday off. I will be back on Thursday. Don't you worry. I'm going to see what topic I want to do for Saturday with Andy. Messy will make you messy. Oh, we need to make Scotland ungovernable. Put me in charge. I am so... Oh, I thought that was done, saying that. I am so sorry, Sock, now. I'm reading out. I've been having issues with my Streamlab. I will be back on Thursday, though. There is 3 by-elections, 2 up here in Scotland and 1 in Makerfield. But it looks like Andy Burnham's going to be winning that one anyway. The poll suggests he's going to win by basically 50% of the vote. So yay, rejoice, a Blairite back in fucking government. Or back in the Parliament at least. Thank you everyone. Oh. I'll just mute their teas a minute. Stay hydrated. Self-care is good care. Take your meds. Stay based. Free Palestine. And await the return of your last on Thursday. And if you are an England fan, I hope you enjoy the match. Where be their teeth? Their teeth, where are you? Xerxes is playing Tethergeist, whatever that be. They just, Xerxes. Rude. Let us go and say hello to Xerxes. They are good people. There we go. Put the volume back on.
All right, welcome back from ads, folks. I hope they treated you well. I didn't see closely, but it did look like a fun game by Nixios was playing. All right, let's see. We have another. I'm gonna call those things slimes. I don't know what they are. Oop! Almost ran right into those thorns. Okay, so the fire is definitely not friendly. Okay, 2 flowers. I love the little spider pigs. Spider pig can do whatever a spider pig can. Oop, welcome in, Mad Cat. I hope you're doing well. Thank you for the raid.